Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, we have here in front of us the completion of this tafsir, the last three volumes, volumes 42, 43, and 44 of At-Tafsīr al-Muharrar. This is produced by Editorial, and it's been worked on for a very long time. This took a number of people putting this together, and it took them over 10 years to write it all together, and they've been printing them for the last, I don't know how many years when it eventually started. My volume 1 is the second print, and it was printed 3 to 4 years ago. So when was the first one? Allahu Alam. But they've been coming out with, every time they would get a section done, then they would print it. And many people may not know about it because I haven't seen it promoted a lot, and maybe because it wasn't finished. A lot of times when books are not finished, then people hesitate to purchase them, not knowing if they will be completed or not. At least I know I'm hesitant a lot of times. But alhamdulillah, we see these people have been completing them. And just a few weeks ago, they produced this 3-volume tafsir of Juz Amma. Inside of here, first off, we see that this is by Editorial, as we said, and there are people who review it, the first of them being Sheikh Dr. Khalid ibn Uthman as-Sabt, who is very well known in the area of tafsir today. And he is a professor of tafsir in the University of Abdurrahman ibn Faisal. And then we have Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Saad al-Khatib, who is a professor in tafsir and sciences of the Quran in Azhar University, right? And this is all being done under the supervision of Alawi ibn Abdul Qadir as-Saqaf. This, as we said, took a number of people. I'm not sure, it doesn't say exactly how many, but over 10 years. In the back of volume 44, the last volume, it has a section going through the masadir, or the sources of the book, Maraji At-Tafsīr al-Muharrar. The sources are the references that were used. And we see it starts here on page 503, and it ends on page 560. So that's 58 pages worth of references, to a total of 671 different references that were used in compiling this tafsir. I'm going to read something that can be found in the introduction, or talk about parts of what can be found in the introduction in Surah Al-Baqarah, written by the introduction of Sheikh Khalid as-Sabt, who says he reviewed it in detail and in depth, and he highly promotes it, and he is involved with its production. He says that there are a number of things that when one reads books of tafsir, he will come across many obstacles. And in here he's talking about, therefore, why this book is being written and some of the obstacles that are trying to be overcome in its writing. He said, number one, you will find that many times the style, the language style, which the authors use, as well as the scientific terminologies, might make it difficult for the reader who is not a specialist in tafsir to understand. And anyone who's read tafsir, depending on their level of knowledge, they will have recognized this. That sometimes there's a language that's difficult to understand, especially if you're not a specialist in this field. There are terminologies which one says, what does that mean? Why did he use that word? Another obstacle is the abundance of information that the person might put in the book. So someone might include, for instance, the connection between this surah and the surah before it and the surah after it, or between this group of ayat and the group of ayat before it or after it. Hadith narrations, they might include in it definitions of odd words, the linguistic analysis of a word. Why is it in a certain tense or whatever? Also, the different qira'at, that might affect the tafsir. And all of that with some points of eloquence and fiqh rulings that are derived from it. And other than that, and they're all kind of mumble jumbled up in there. It's not like there's a certain format or manhaj that was used. Rather, just what came to the author's mind. He put it here and there and there, and it's kind of spread out throughout the book and not gathered in one place. Also, there could be the issue of what is authentic and what is not authentic, right? Also, you might find in the books of tafsir where they talk about differences of opinion and different interpretations, some of them being far and far-fetched interpretations, we could say, right? That they don't benefit the author or the reader, especially if the author does not make it make the tarjih, make the state which opinion has the most weight, right? So these differences of opinion could cause confusion instead of bring clarity. Also, without a doubt, the books of tafsir have many repetitions. As-Sa'di said this, At-Tabari said this, Ibn Kathir said this, Ibn al-Qayyim, it's all said the same thing. And the number of individual benefits, like the things that you can only find in Ibn al-Qayyim's book, the things only in Ibn Kathir's book, only in al-Baghawi's book, they're few. Much of what is there is repeated. And so in order to get those extra benefits, you have to read all these books of tafsir and find all of them, right? And so that's one of the things that they tried to do by this tafsir. Also, you find in many books of tafsir, maybe the author might go off on a divergent topic for a while that doesn't seem related to the tafsir, and then he comes back, and all of this just makes it a little bit difficult to gather everything that's out there in the field of tafsir. So this book, what it's tried to do is overcome these obstacles and to give a clear meaning of the ayah and follow a certain formula. If it brings difference of opinions, then they bring what is the strongest and the most weightiest according to the scholars. And it is built upon the aqidah of the Salaf al-Salih and their fahm of the religion. So this is one thing that is very important. So let's just look, inshallah ta'ala, at something that we will see in Surah An-Naba. So the title we gave this video is "This the greatest book of tafsir ever?" Allahu alam, it could be. It could be. It's 44 volumes, and it has gathered the best of what was in the previous books and built it upon a sound aqidah and understanding, and got rid of the false and unauthentic narrations. So for us today, Allah knows best, this could be the best book of tafsir. Anyway, let's look and see how they do it. In Surah An-Naba here, we see the name of the surah. Then is it Mecca or Medini? What are the goals of the surah? What are its main topics that it is trying to present? Then what are the subjects of the surah? How does it get to that goal? What are some of the subjects that are talked about that will help us reach that goal? And then it brings a set of ayat which are related. So here, the first 5 ayat of Surah An-Naba. Here, he'll talk about the strange hadith. And he does this for every surah or every section that they talk about. They bring the same subjects or titles or headings or divisions, whatever you want to call it. So you can find these things in a logical order across all of the Quran. So the strange words, the odd words, which are maybe difficult to understand even for the Arab. What is the general meaning of these ayat? Just a basic general tafsir of these 5 ayat. Almost if you could read this alone as a tafsir to that section. Then tafsir al-ayat, what is the actual tafsir of the ayat by ayat. And these are all footnotes supporting what they say above and where did they get it from. Ayat by ayat, what is the tafsir? So those first 5 ayat, we see, they bring a tafsir. Then we have here, what are the knowledge-based benefits and some of the subtle points that are found in these ayat that maybe are not, immediately noticeable. Then balagatul ayat. What is some of the eloquence used in the ayat? Also, it's like a deeper dive of these knowledge-based points and lata'if, these subtle points. So when Allah says such and such and such and such order, then and the reason that he brought the khabar before the mubtada and so on, then this proves this and that. So he brings this. And as you can see, these 5 ayat have 6, so far 6 pages, 7 pages of the balagha. And then the next set of ayat, we have the gharib words, the odd words, which need some help in understanding their meanings. What is the general meaning of that section? What is the tafsir of the ayat, or ayat by ayat? Sorry, I was getting it blurry because I turned it too quick. Ayat by ayat. Then fawaid tarbawiyah. What are benefits that are educational and building blocks? Fawaid. The first 5 didn't obviously have that, but here, if it does exist, it has it. Then the fawaid ilmiyah, the knowledge-based benefits and lata'if. Here we have a couple pages of that again. Then we have the balagha of the ayat. There's 2 pages, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. And then next section of ayat. So is this the best book of tafsir? I'm not a person on the level that I can say that. I'm not a person who my word in that is accepted. However, I will say that for me, as just a book of tafsir, this is what I'm going to read. If referring back, reading a book, and I want to go see what such and such might have said, then I will go to those books that I have in tafsir. But this is my go-to book from here on out. You can go to Ad-Durr as-Sunniyah, Ad-Durr.net, DORAR.net. And if you go to their store on there, then you can buy these. They're around $10 to $12 per volume times 44. I don't know if they're going to make a big, now that it's complete, will they make a set price? But you can also get the PDFs online for around $1.25 a piece, something like that. $1.25 per PDF, professional, nice, clean PDF. And you can own it all. If you can't afford the whole book, then you can own the entire book. If you can't get the real book, then you can get the PDF, and it is available on their site, and it comes to your email immediately as soon as you buy it. So for around $40 to $50, you can get this whole book. Maybe $60, maybe 60. And if you were to buy it, then it's probably around $450, $500 plus shipping. But for this type and this size of book with this type of effort and work being put into it, it's most definitely valuable. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.